You guys ready? All right, the time is now 5 p.m. on Monday, March 4th, 2024, and the Community Development Committee meeting is called to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Turner,
Present.
Alderman Donenworth,
Present.
Alderman Florian,
Present.
Alderman Newsome,
Present.
Chairman Hayes.
Present. Thank you. May I please have a motion and a second for approval of the minutes from the February 5th, 2024 meeting of the Community Development Committee?
So moved.
First by Alderwoman Florian. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. I always forget. Can we do this? Do we have to vote on this? Voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, audience time. Do we have any members of the audience that wish to address the committee tonight about anything that's on the agenda? Going once, twice? All right. Moving on to there being no old business, new business. Can I have a first and a second for agenda item A, which is an ordinance approving zoning calendar number 2741, which is a conditional use permit for a nonprofit community center in the B2 Community Shopping District at 1428 West Glen Flora Avenue?
I'll make the motion since it's in my ward.
All right, a first by Alderwoman Newsome. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Alderman Donenworth. Are there any questions on agenda item A? Alderwoman Florian? Before you go, I believe the petitioner is here. So if we need you to come up and speak, or if you'd like to, you're welcome to. All right, go ahead.
There were some pretty serious accusations sent out against this petitioner, and I asked for, I forget who I sent it to now, but I sent it out to someone and asked for clarification on whether any of those accusations were true, and I never got a response. So I'm curious if we have a response.
I'm not aware of anything being provided, so if there's...
So I asked about that too, Alderman Florian, and while I don't feel comfortable speaking to specifics, I can tell you that I was informed that there is an active investigation, multiple.
Conducted by who? Who's conducting the investigation?
I don't know what you're talking about. And the fact that you said, well, it'd be nice if you could contact me with these things before these discussions.
Can we kind of stall that question?
I sent it to, let me see who I sent it to. Who did you send it to? And did you get a response from?
My understanding is the Secretary of State's office and another agency or two have open and active investigations.
If I'm not mistaken, there was a couple of hearings conducted by the Planning and Zoning Committee. I went back and watched the most recent one, and I believe that this passed with a recommendation, unanimous recommendation from Planning and Zoning to approve this. I don't believe that any of the information that we might be discussing right now came up during that hearing. But correct me if I'm getting that wrong.
So some of it did come up, mostly from the podium. But planning and zoning has different, what word do I want, Stu? Criteria they can consider.
Yeah.
And they can only make their decisions based on the information provided. Like, explain that, Stu. I'm doing a horrible job here.
I mean, the Planning and Zoning Commission has a very limited scope of, they basically have to determine if the use as proposed complies with the conditions and that are set forth, conditions and standards that are set forth in our zoning ordinance. If there are other issues that are outside of the actual land use proposed, you know, that's something that, depending on what they are, and once again, I'm working without a lot of information here, the city council can take into consideration.
Those are the criteria you're referring to is what's in the staff memo that we receive. Okay, yes.
Yes.
All right. Does
On
anybody-
those grounds, I went out and spoke with Mr. Armando. I went out to the site and on Friday. But a couple weeks ago, I started getting telephone calls regarding this issue, and there are a lot of concerns in the neighborhood. Since it's in a neighborhood, I know that the site was not originally created for a community center because there's very limited parking. And the parking is where you just go in and come out. The neighbors are concerned, and I am also concerned that the other property that the owner has is on Grand and Pine Street, and that is also in the 5th Ward. And there has been a lot of concerns about the amount of cars that are parked on Grand Avenue. That being said, the group has adjusted the way that they distribute food on Sundays and Fridays, I believe, so that they have set up appointment times only for residents to come and pick up food. And I believe that they are, according to the paperwork that I have, are 10 cars every 15 minutes, and I think that's quite a bit for 15 minutes. I did get the video and was able to look at it and, excuse me, see the cars coming in and out. But I also thought I saw cars that were coming over from the parking lot at the liquor store next door. Correct me if I'm wrong. But looked like in the video that cars were parked over at the liquor store as well before they came over into your parking lot to get the food. Also, I know that there are plans to expand what you do there, and I have a lot of concerns about that as well from the neighbors. Being that there's limited parking. And I know you showed me the diagram, how cars are going to come in and turn around and come out. It looks like it's difficult to do that. I wouldn't be able to tell unless I saw how if you're going to have parking in the back, how cars are going to be able to come in and come out. There would have to be absolutely no cars parked in the back area in the lot that property that you're leasing from Larson's. So I do have a lot of concerns. And I too got an email regarding this other issue that was brought up. And I don't know what to really say about that because it hasn't been investigated, I guess. So it would be difficult for me to say that I'm going to hold it over because of that. But my concerns are just,
Sorry.
my concerns are just the amount of activity that will be happening right there on a main street. And as I spoke to Mr. Armando, there would be absolutely no ability to be parking and waiting on Glen Flora. That's the problem that we have with the Learn Charter school just east of your property there. It's difficult. You have cars sitting and waiting on Western Avenue and Glen Flora Avenue, waiting to turn into the schools. So it creates a lot of activity in the mornings and a lot of frustration by a lot of people that go up and down Glen Flora. So those are my concerns.
Thank you, Alderwoman Newsom. Corporation Counsel, did you want to say something? Okay.
So I was just shown some information regarding, I guess, a purported investigation with absolutely no supporting documentation. It wasn't from any official source. I would say that unless whatever these allegations are, deal with the operation of either an existing or proposed use, that they are not relevant to the discussion. I mean, there are, when we talk about liquor licenses, we have provisions about moral character, about compliance with other laws, not breaking any other laws, unless there is like some sort of evidence of like an indictment or something, which I've not seen or heard. I would say that the committee should limit its discussion to the operations of, remind me, is this an existing use that is being changed or expanded, or is this a new use? It's a new use. So I would say, is the proposed use appropriate for the space? I know that they are leasing parking spaces from a separate property. Do you feel that that is a sufficient arrangement to deal with what appears to be a parking deficit on the subject property itself? I think there's a lot here to talk about without having to get into things that appear to be either hearsay or not related to the actual use and operation as proposed.
Thank you for that. Alderman Turner, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to, reiterate what the concerns that Alderman Newsom has. Though this property is in the 5th Ward, it is close to the border of the 6th Ward. And as I mentioned to Alderman Newsom, the traffic impacts there and at the daycare, Learn Charter School, impact her area of the 5th Ward and my area. It's a transitory corridor. We get a lot of folks from both wards going back and forth. I'm really deeply concerned about impeding the traffic flow and potential hazard to pedestrians as well. So.
Okay, thanks for that. Alderwoman Florian, give me just 1 second. If you guys would like to come up, we'll give you an opportunity to address the council with some of the issues that have been raised. So you can come on up and give us just a second. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. I have a couple of questions in regard to the traffic issues. The parking lot that you're leasing is kind of off, on this map I'm looking off to the right as you face the building. Directly behind the building, is there room to add more parking there? Okay, and where you currently operate, are you currently doing appointments now, like when you do your food drop-off? And you still have traffic issues? Because I was thinking maybe if you weren't doing appointments now. Okay, well,
Just to
I didn't see any cars.
You know what?
He sent me a
Give me
video.
just 1 second. I'm sorry. If you
up.
could come up and speak into the mic, then we can make sure that we preserve the record on the questions that are being asked.
No, he sent me a video, and I did not see any cars on the street parked on Grand Avenue like they used to be, just waiting to come in. So they are by appointment only. Were there, and I can ask you now, were there any cars that were coming over from being parked at the liquor store? Did I see that cars came over from the liquor store parked and coming to the lot to get their distribution?
Okay, the way that we work, because we make an agreement with the owner for the Grand Tequila, is Frankie. He let us to use the enter, so that way we can keep in the cars like in a private parking lot. So just for checking in, they got the appointment, they got right, so that we can pull in then into the parking lot from behind the building, 701 Pine Street. But like you mentioned, from before, 2 years ago, when we started the pandemic and everything, yeah, it wasn't any appointment. And yeah, we have more than 200 cars waiting for us, parking the 2 parking lots with the amount of the cars. And yeah, we set up everything, and we start, when we got everything set up, we give them that. But today, because everything is appointment, we set up, everybody come on, my volunteers, everybody come on 8 o'clock in the morning. We put everything in boxes, and we know in an hour we can put all the pantries ready for them. And when they come in, they only take 5 minutes to come in and out. And that way everybody goes. And we
So
tell
the-
you're welcome to come on Sunday to look at it,
Yeah.
you witness by yourself. And even
Right.
3 weeks ago, I asked him because everything is totally different, and nothing what the false things they're making out somebody, and it's totally very upset for us, and the kind of way those people are. You make him feel like we are
Hold-
not.
So actually, they're, at the Grand Tequila, they allow you to use that parking lot just to come over so that they're not sitting on Grand Avenue? Okay. So what's going to happen when you get over on Glen Flora? How are you going to work that? I know the schedule that you gave me, it says 10 cars every 15 minutes, and I think that's quite a bit.
Well, like I mentioned again, in this new building, because from right now in Grand Avenue, we're taking 40 cars every 15 minutes. They coming in and they go out. And like I said, you're welcome guys to go in and look at how the system works without any issue, any problems. Because this is shorter, the parking is short, we decide to do only 10 cars every 15 minutes. But the city suggested to do 30 minutes for you guys can look at us, how it's gonna work, how it's gonna make it up for you guys to look at it. We got no try. And yeah, we don't want it to plan to do any cars in the street because we know the new building, that's why we start from September, the last year, we start do the appointment only. And now, many of the people, they understand it's appointment only, and they just arrive on time. We check in with the new app, with the tablets. We check in right away. Like I said, all the service for these people, it takes only 5 minutes. Before, we took it like 2 hours or 3 hours waiting for them to get in the bus. But today is totally different. And also for the classes that we got during the week, it's at nighttime right now. And there's parking for a space for 10 people in one class, another class. But most of the times, only we got 2 classes, and let's say on Wednesdays and Mondays, English classes and jury classes. It's 2 classes, and the most is 20 people. But today, people show up, they come in the first day, we got like 10, 50 people. Okay. But after today, because we do every 3 months, the classes. Today is only 4 people showing for the classes.
Okay,
And
thank you.
Things happen, but we always calculate because the new parking lot, we know we got only limited for 28 cars. And we consider everything, and I know during the week we're not gonna do, I know for the school, they're looking so terrible, the school looks so bad when it's very long lines in it, but we're not planning to do anything like that because we know we have to responses with you guys, and we know we don't want to look us bad and somebody making us looking real bad.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Turner, or Alderwoman Newsom, are you finished? Oh,
I know in the paperwork here, Noel, its hours were from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. What are your hours of food distribution? Are they from?
Right now it's only Sundays because for the safety for everybody, we bring the food from the food bank. We keep in our truck, refrigerator truck, and we serve it, all the food there and make it out to people to get the food fresh, no problems. But yeah, now, for future, because if we get a place, we gotta, buy a walk-in cooler, walk-in freezer, so everything's storage, and that we thinking to just, certain times, people's gonna call, like the same as human, human are making like appointment, it's only certain time, and they can go in and out without issues and no drive-through. But right now, it's like that because we had to sign out with the whole department. At first, we get the building, we know we need storage, we need refrigerators, so we can sign out the license for whole department to everything is serving good and everything is safety and people, they can get it. Bread is only one day too because they come from the Bimbo store or warehouse, and we do only one day, but they're walking in and do 30 appointments every 15 minutes, but because they parking in the parking lot with no problems, and they go out. We think in the future that we get for Glen Flora, we're gonna do like 10 people every hour or every 30 minutes. They can park in and go in and grab the bed, and they can go up. We're not gonna do any drive-through for the Fridays because we know it's still time for the school teams and all that. We're not gonna we're gonna put it in the cars, and they can park in. And we show, well, it's I don't know you got the package, but we put in there like how many is, the people that are gonna, this is like the, for the schedule of the classes, how the classes go, all the classes, the days, and we're gonna stay the same. We're gonna stay the same classes because even we're looking for, for funds so we can pay another teacher for another classes, but right now we are very limited. And this is for the bread distribution, how we're gonna do inside only, but walking in and out. Not drive-through, and we put it like for Friday, coming in and 1 o'clock into 5:30, 5 o'clock, 4:30. And that's the way that we wanna work with you guys, and I know it's just real jam and traffic, but we're not gonna, because we start making everything since September, appointment only. And people, they say, oh my God, I need food. Yeah, I know, sorry, but
Okay.
you gotta go and come back again.
All right, thank you. Alderman Turner, do you have a question?
Yes, thank you. So 40 cars in 15 minutes works out to 2.6 cars a minute. And I don't think you can, it just doesn't make sense. That's a lot of cars to process.
That's at Grand Avenue, I think. That's
We
at the other location, not Glen Flora.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
10 cars.
Yeah,
only
all right.
10 cars.
So,
Every-
also,
Fair.
are you affiliated or are you part of the other operation, that similar operation down on Franklin Street? Is that you too, your organization?
No, we partner with the Robotic Community. Robotic Community is one of our brands that we support them for the equipment.
Ultimately, my question is, are the clients from Franklin Street, Franklin Street, also going to be coming over to Glen Flora, to your new location? No, okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
The street address, once you go over to Glen Flora, you're not going to be using the Pine Street and Grand Avenue for food distribution anymore?
No, we're gonna cancel the lease with Delia de la Cruz. We know we are dating our licenses since 17 that we were open for you guys from 1917, and we are funded from 2013. That's when we register our organization, and we still, do this and this part, but no. That's why we're looking for the new license and to move to the new place, because we got this building and we get all the support for the state to get in a new, we get the grant to buy a building.
Okay.
So we can keep work for you guys in the community and do the best. And like I said, I know the law, I know a lot of paperwork, and I'm making everything the right. And you're welcome to serve for us. I got my dating license, and I got my dating.
right.
501c3 is not dating. The state, everything is
Okay.
in order.
Thank you, thank you. Appreciate that. Any other questions?
I just want to make sure you've read the conditions where you can only have 61 people at any given time in your building for the next 12 months.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know, like I said before, I know that you're looking to expand or do some other things, but you know you'll have to come back to the council before you do anything else.
Yeah, that's the rules.
Another issue that was raised was making sure that, that there's no sheltering in the building overnight.
Oh, no.
Okay,
No, we don't want that. We got no those things.
okay, all right, sounds good. Anything else, Alderwoman Newsom?
Had to do it, so I don't know us.
Okay. Any other questions regarding agenda item A? Alderman Turner, you got anything? No? Okay. Roll call, please.
Alderman Turner,
Yeah, I think I'd like to hold this one over to our next committee meeting. There is some information that unfortunately the majority of this committee is not aware of, and I think it's pertinent that it be considered, or at least you be made aware of it.
Okay. Do we have a second do we need a second for the holdover? Stu, you've covered this ad nauseum. All
You
right,
don't need a second for the holdover.
okay. All right.
So
We can
unless
hold it over.
basically everybody else wants to hear it right now, it's held over.
Any objections?
Well, so it'd be a 2/3 would be required. Yeah, it basically, if the other folks wanted to move, if all four wanted to move it forward, they could vote to do that. They could vote to override the holdover, but otherwise it would be continued to the next community development meeting, which would be in 4 weeks. And it's not on tonight's council either. So.
I think what we might be able to do is, we could vote on it now, since it's not on the agenda for the general council. And then when it comes before general council, then maybe we could address some of those concerns that you might have then.
Because
With
it's
it-
going to be 2 weeks anyway.
Just to,
'cause it's not on the
just to
council
move it
tonight.
along? Yeah. Okay, all right, so holdovers withdrawn, and roll call, please.
Alderman Turner,
Aye.
Alderman Donenworth,
Aye.
Alderman Florian,
Aye.
Alderman Newsom,
Aye.
Chairman Hayes.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Can I have a first and a second for agenda item B, which is an ordinance approving zoning calendar number 2742, a variance from the maximum fence height allowed in the front yard at 1201 North Sheridan Road?
I'll make the motion. It's in my ward.
Second.
All right. First from Alderman Turner, second from Alderwoman Florian. Any questions to the motion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Turner,
Aye.
Alderman Donenworth,
Aye.
Alderman Florian,
Aye.
Alderman Newsom,
Aye.
Chairman Hayes.
Aye. Motion passes. Agenda item C, can I have a first and a second for a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing an extension of a conditional use permit for the Board of Trustees of Community College 532, College of Lake County, for the operation of an education institution at 100 West Madison Street.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions to the motion?
Yeah, how long is the extension? I forgot.
I think it's a one-year extension.
Yes. It's 1 year from when the other one would have expired, so it's a year from April.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
And there are representatives from CLC here tonight if you wanted to ask kind of the background on why they're asking for this extension.
Are there any questions for the applicant? No? Roll call, please.
Alderman Turner,
Aye.
Alderman Donenworth,
Aye.
Alderman Florian,
Aye.
Alderman Newsom,
I
Chairman
wanna
Hayes.
recuse from voting on this since my husband is a trustee at CLC.
And Chairman Hayes.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, agenda item D is a resolution, or can I
And
get a,
just for the applicant's benefit, I don't believe that this is on the main city council agenda tonight. So it will be on the agenda for final consideration on March the 18th.
Thank you, Council. Can I have a first and a second for agenda item D, which is a resolution approving and authorizing local share contribution for the U.S. Department of Transportation under the Rebuilding American Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity, RAISE grant program for the Sheridan Road, Illinois 137 corridor, Waukegan Lakefront corridor, rail corridor realignment, and intermodal station project.
So move.
Second.
First from Alderwoman Newsom, second from Alderwoman Florian. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Alderman Turner?
Aye.
Alderman Donenworth?
Aye.
Alderman Florian?
Aye.
Alderman Newsom?
Aye.
Chairman Hayes?
Aye. Motion passes. Agenda item E under new business is an ordinance. Can I get a first and a second for an ordinance amending chapters 3 and 14 of the Code of Ordinances regarding nightclubs? First and a second.
I'll first.
Okay. Is there a second? Sure. I'll second it. Okay. I'm sensing some reluctance here. So are there any questions?
I have a couple questions. Again, I asked these over the weekend, but I must have asked the wrong people. So I'm curious how this changes what we already have. Like, can you explain like where we're at now and why we need to be here?
So at the present time, nightclubs are regulated by the zoning ordinance, and there are conditional uses for some of them and permitted use. That is being removed from the zoning ordinance in the UDO. Zoning will no longer be regulating the use because it's not really a zoning type of use. It's more of a liquor license related use. And so we have talked to the team, said that it's coming out of the UDO language and that there should be something that addresses it. And so this ordinance was the work of the mayor's office, the corporation counsel's office, the finance collection division that handles liquor licensing, the zoning department. A group of us met a number of times going through and trying to, and the police department too, trying to identify all of the different components that are impacted by nightclub uses.
So how does this affect places that are already operating as a nightclub? Or do they have to reapply under this new?
Everybody who wants to operate that way would need to get this endorsement.
Okay, and how does it affect people who applied in the past and were denied?
There's no existing approved nightclub under the zoning ordinance currently. There's no existing conditional use permit for a nightclub.
Even though we have some that function that way. Okay, all right, well, that helps a lot, thank you.
Alderman Turner?
So does that mean that the nightclub, because it's no longer going to be regulated under the zoning ordinance, does that mean that a nightclub could open in any zone?
So under zoning, nightclubs fall into bars and restaurants, right? That's where they operate. Banquet halls are not allowed to operate as nightclubs. So banquet halls are not allowed to operate as nightclubs. So that's normally a bar that operates as a nightclub. And so bars are what's covered by zoning, because zoning then looks at how they affect the neighbors, who they're next to, what the parking is, that kind of thing. And so assuming that a nightclub is going into a liquor establishment, zoning looks at the liquor establishment, but liquor licensing needs to look at the other operation and are there other things that are happening, if that makes sense.
So if there's a restaurant, a bar facility that's selling liquor, and now they want to operate as a nightclub, they need to get an additional license.
Yeah, so the way this is written, there's two parts of this ordinance. The first part you can kind of think of as like an accessory liquor license. And it's only available to Class A and Class E, people who already have a Class A or Class E, so a tavern or a restaurant. Those are the only types of establishments that can get this nightclub endorsement. If you have one of those, you then have to apply for a nightclub endorsement. Currently, the ordinance as written, and this is an issue for you to discuss and decide if there should be a cap on the number of nightclub endorsements that are allowed, the way there are caps on almost every other one of our license types. And then you also have to obtain a business license for a nightclub. That business license requirement includes a lot of requirements that involve when it can be open, when nightclub activities can occur. So you don't have nightclub activities starting before 9. They cannot continue after liquor service ends, which is 1 a.m. on weekdays for all establishments, 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday nights. Has to have certain security requirements with regard to security cameras and a security plan. Basically, if someone wanted to start treating a tavern or a restaurant, assuming that they have the space for it, as a nightclub, they would have to ensure that their property could actually take the capacity, and they would also be required to provide notice of events that would be significantly utilizing their occupancy capacity.
So basically, correct me if I'm wrong, the difference between a nightclub and, say, a bar or a restaurant that already has a liquor license is the nightclub has dancing. They allow people to dance in the facility, right?
And charges a cover.
And charges a cover. And so we're going to make them get an additional license above whichever pre-existing license they have so that people can go dancing.
Yeah, so it's the two, I'll just read you the language so you can understand kind of the scope of it. Charge the general public a fee for the right to access the licensed premises and feature live entertainment, including without limitation, disc jockeys or other live musical performances, stunts, talent contest, or karaoke. And whether you consider a DJ to be live music or recorded music or a live performance of recorded music, that's a question for the ages.
Thanks for that.
Any other questions? Okay. Roll call, please.
Alderman Turner?
No.
Alderman Donenworth?
Aye.
Alderman Florian?
Aye.
Alderman Newsom?
Nay.
Alderman Hayes?
Aye. Motion passes. There being no reports and communications, can I get a first and a second to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Any
Aye.
opposed? We are adjourned at 5:37. Thank you.